Good morning everyone and welcome to Djuma Game Reserve here in the Sabi Sands. It's a beautiful morning and you'll notice I don't have my jacket on. It's not as fresh as it has been the last few days, so probably going to be a warmer day today, which is fine. And what a great start it's been. Some beautiful clouds to the eastern horizon, and you'll notice in the background there's one of our larger friends out here, the elephants. We saw a lot of their tracks on this road, and we were driving down this road in the hope of finding some lion tracks coming in from our northern boundary, but have been thankfully delayed by these elephants. So we will be spending a bit more time with them as the morning progresses. And Mark, who is in the other vehicle, is going to be heading straight back towards a young male leopard who we've been viewing for the last two drives, yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon. And some really interesting interactions going on there between this young male leopard called Quarantine, along with hyena, and there's also a crocodile in the mix there. So some great prospects from there, and we will cut across to Mark a little bit later on when he gets closer to Buffelshoek Dam. So that's his plans, and I'm hoping to follow up on any sign of lion coming onto the property. We haven't seen lion for quite some time now, and are going to start focusing our efforts on trying to achieve that. This morning I'm teamed up with VM on camera, and Mark and Brian are together. And just a reminder, it is Brian's last drive before he takes a much needed 3-week leave. He's been out here for an exceptionally long period of time and deserves a good break. And Nikki is in the final control. For any of you who may be first-time viewers, it's important to know that this is a live interactive safari, so if you would like to ask myself or Mark, the other presenter, questions, you can do that by sending them through on Twitter with the hashtag SafariLive, or an email to questions@WildEarthTV. So please send your questions through, and Nikki in the final control will do her best to relay those to us out here in the field. Now this is one of several elephants within a herd. I can hear more in the thick vegetation to the left of her, but she's the only one we can see for now, and we will reposition the vehicle slightly in a few minutes. I just would like to establish which direction the herd are moving in, and that way be able to try and position ourselves accordingly, and potentially they'll be able to walk around us. If you manage to get into a situation where you can park the vehicle in front of where they're moving, they then have the decision to carry on towards you or to divert and take a wider path. And sometimes we get really lucky and they come very close past the vehicle. So I did hear more off somewhere to the left of us, and I can see a big grey mass in there. It's very thick, but it is in there, and it will probably be coming towards us at some stage. But now to decide where's the best spot to position ourselves now. Excuse me. thick in here, but we'll give him a moment or two to practice his skills here. As there is a young calf, potentially the calf of this older cow that we have been viewing. It looks like it's still half asleep, this young calf. Okay, I'm going to try and reposition the vehicle now. There's a fairly good chance that the herd is moving away from the road, judging by that female's movement, so we'll try and get in amongst them. Just establishing where the best path to do that is, and that may take us a moment or two. There we go. Fence around Djuma at the moment, and it's something we should make the most of, because they are animals that can move huge distances and aren't bound by a territory. So okay, copy, thanks. Well, as you can see, it is very thick here, so what we're going to do is maybe link across to Mark and see if he's had any luck at Buffelshoek Dam, and myself and VM will try and reposition ourselves in the meantime and try and get some better views to enjoy this herd of elephants. So we won't be going anywhere, just simply trying to reposition ourselves, and let's catch up with Mark and Brian and see what they're up to.
An incredibly beautiful scene here this morning at Buffelshoek Dam. Welcome to another side of Djuma. My name is Mark, and Brian is on camera with me this morning. And coming to Buffelshoek Dam to check up on a little cat and his kill. And lucky enough to get this herd of elephant just coming in. That young bull is actually coming around the side of the dam, closer to where our little prince is lying. Probably smelling. I wouldn't be surprised if they're smelling things. I was hoping that I'd get a chance to see the tracks down there where that elephant is, because I wanted to see if the crocodile has come out. So I'm hoping that the tracks won't be obliterated if the ellies cross over there. Can you spot the leopard in your picture? Have you zoomed in on him yet?
No, not yet.
I haven't been watching the monitor, I've been watching the ellies. Hello in New York. Good morning to you. How did Biffle's Hook get its name? Well, Biffle's Hook means Buffalo Corner. All I can tell you is it's translated as Buffalo Corner. Oh, there comes another mama with 3 little ones. But that's because she's heading up another family group that are coming into the water. Lion. No, not lion. Machine. Machine making lion noises. Little quarantine male. Still quite safe where he is right now. Elephant might get to chase him a little bit later. Ellie's are smelling out. He's getting up now. I think he's getting a little intimidated. I'm tempted to go find our little... Can you see him anymore? Oh, he's just dropped down now. I've just seen him walk down to the bottom. But we don't want to miss the elephant show. And the sun rising. And as yet no sign of the prehistoric reptile that's been lurking in the water. That little one in the bottom there, battling to drink with its trunk, so it just puts its mouth in the water, bends down and drinks with its mouth. It's learning, it's using the trunk, but I'm wondering how much. Sometimes they get so frustrated they don't get enough water, they just drink straight from the pond. Like that. I'll just put my face in the water, get more water that way. Jeffrey's asking, morning Jeffrey, how's Texas this morning? Look how the fish react to the birds as they fly over the water.
Oh wow.
Bushbuck drinking. We hardly get to see bushbuck. And for a change they've got a right to be nervous because there's a dragon, a monster living here that's capable of taking a bushbuck quite easily. Fortunately though, they're in a very shallow part of the pond. We just had two thickneys, water thickneys, fly over from the elephant side to our side, and they flew just above the surface of the water. And it's incredible to see. There must be thousands of tiny tilapia in the water, and as the birds flew across, the fish rippled the surface just underneath them or just ahead of them, perhaps sensing danger, seeing the shadow. Every now and then there's something hunting fish in the water in different places. You can see every now and then you can see how the fish react on the surface. Little one's trying to climb up that slope. But first it's time to play in the sand. Okay, sorry Jeffrey, I get so distracted. Jeffrey was asking, what circumstances would one elephant kill another elephant? Two big matching bulls during a fight. Not very common, but if there were two matched bulls in terms of strength and their impression of their status within the society, elephant bull society, they both felt that they were the biggest and best bulls. They would fight and perhaps could become so severe that one of them could die. Deanna, morning Deanna. Would the crocodile go after an Ellie? Not likely. Oh, look, there's our little short trunk Ellie. We know this herd. Sorry Brian, I know you're busy with the dusting, but the one that's back at the water there, that's the Ellie, that youngster that, well, she's getting older now. I think it's the same one. Lost the tip of her trunk. It's just an elephant that we have seen before. I think it's, unless she was just holding her trunk in a particular way. No, it's not. The trunk is fine. It's just the way she was holding it. But if a small lily got in the water to play, like one of these ones Tammy's asking, I think the crocodile is a little bit small for a young elephant. But the others, the adults, would have a fit. other adults would get in and they'd do something about it. Oh, that little brave boy, look, it's fighting. This is too beautiful. Well, good morning to Canada and morning Colleen. Colleen's asking how old an elephant is before it can use its trunk properly. It's a continual learning process, really, Colleen. I mean, by 5 they're quite proficient. But if you think about us as children, our children, their abilities to use their hands, it's a skill that is developed over time rather than reaching a particular age where all the skill sets are there. And so even elephants growing up always have to fine tune the use of their trunk. So I don't really know how to answer that question, because from the moment they're born, going through childhood to puberty, I guess there are still things that they will have to learn how to subtly use, but they still can use it in a way that they can feed in dust and mud and drink. But obviously, to be as good at mud slinging and dust throwing and water sprouting, I guess it takes a little bit longer to do that. I guess you could say anyway from 5 to 10 they start using their trunks pretty well. Some perhaps a little bit more proficient than others. You might get the crocodile trying its luck with an elephant, but it'd be biting off a bit more than it can chew. There have been clips, I know there have been some clips on YouTube and elsewhere I've seen one where a crocodile takes a youngster and the mother does something. I've seen where mother and child are drinking and the crocodile grabs her trunk and she swings it around. All rather unique circumstances. But I suppose if we sat here long enough, often enough, we might see the crocodile do something silly. Oh, look at it, big cars pushing that tree. Quite a big knobthorn. I think it's a knobthorn. I wonder if she's going to push it. Got her tusks either side of it. No, it's not a knobthorn. It's a Balanites, torchwood. Okay, I think what we'll do is head around that side towards them and see if we can see, because this might get interesting. See if we can. If we can see this little boy now. Morning, Linda. Linda in Texas. The elephants and the birds and the beware of the crocodile. There he is, I can see him from here. He's sleeping behind the bamboo. slept on his side. Linda, the bit likely some if they've seen him, if they've seen the croc. The elephants probably not until maybe it shows itself. But we'll get to him. He's sleeping. I just want to look for. There's no sign of a carcass here at all. Really be interested to see tracks, but what I wanted to do is with the dusting that they're doing and the sun behind them, this is just an unforgettable moment. To give you an idea, there are a few scavenging birds around. Morning, Andrew. Yeah, he moved off a little bit, but his lullapines, he drove quite close by. Yeah, also I can't see any Djuma here. Okay, fine, copy. Oh, Tina, lovely to hear from you. Just to let you know, the scavenging birds that we have around at the moment, there are a couple of batelier. There's an adult batelier, there's a juvenile batelier, there's also a tawny eagle. In fact, the batelier above me, if it decided to lose a bit of its load, it would dirty my hat. That's why I wear a hat, in case I sit under a tree with a batelier. And the camera can't go that high. Morning, Mrs. Elephant. She's smelling activity. She's smelling something, that's for sure. One female. Oh, that's just too cute. Little interaction. Are there any other mammals with their memories between the front legs? Four-legged mammals, and well, they can only be mammals if they have memories, ne? Shimongwe. Bats, I think bats. Let me think, what else? And a lot of other animals have more than two. And they're all located on the stomach. All the cats, dogs, all the other ruminants between the hind legs. I think bats are the only others. I guess they're not really four-legged because they're two-winged and two-legged. But this four-legged thing, they're not even antelope. They don't have four legs. They have two legs and two arms. Just they walk on their arms. The bones of the front legs are the same bones as our arm bones. Ulnar and a radius and a humerus. Carpals instead of tarsals in the hand. That was quite cute, that interaction between that older calf and that little one. I wasn't watching my monitor again because I'm watching a batelier watching me. Right, well, all the ellies off where they are, feeding and there's a beautiful big cow, a very big cow who I would assume is the grand old matriarch of the slaughter. Hope we get to see her again. She's right through the back there. Very impressive touch. Sorry, Mrs. Ellie. Maneuvering. It's a little bit smelly. Trying to get into position. A better view of our little boy. You wouldn't say that there would be a herd of elephants so close if you had to look at him sleeping as he is. I know how you feel, little leopard. I have them on my face too. In terms of distance, well, he's about maybe 15, 20 feet ahead of us, just off to the side of us, front right of the vehicle. The elephants, well, they're probably around 50 feet behind us. Slowly they're making their way south, so and we are a little bit west of them, so they are moving past this young lad. I think some of the females in that herd must have picked up the scent of predator and deceased prey. Especially if I can smell it, and I know the elephants can smell it. The air is very still, so the scent is probably just sitting here and hanging. Other than that, they don't seem to be too perturbed by it. Morning, Carol. Carol's in Santa Monica. What does the elephant herd smell like? Carol's asking. Hi, Carol. I have to try and think of a way to describe the smell of elephants. But what I can say is, if you've ever been around stables and horses, more the horses than the stables, there's a smell about horses, as there is if you've ever been around cows. So there's this collective smell of large bodies and their individual scents and the food that they feed on, crushed vegetation, dung and urine, but it's not that you can single out a particular sense or scent in that smell. It's all mingled into one I want to say overwhelming, but sometimes it can be, but one sort of, oh gosh, I wish I could find the words to describe it, Carol. It's not even an odor. It's an olfactory presence. I don't know how to describe smells. I really don't. I wish I could. What do you think, Brian? What words could we use?
It's a tricky one because it's illy. When you're around illies, that's what they smell like.
Yeah.
It's pungent.
It can be pungent. Pass, next question, please. And they're still there, at least they're not going anywhere fast. Going nowhere slowly. Does anything give out an alarm when crocodile is spotted by animals? Yes, it does actually. Sometimes. Of course, I have to throw it in there that it depends on circumstances. Generally, a crocodile just lying out of the water, not going to elicit alarms. I've seen film. I've seen crocodiles stalking. I can't remember the specifics of the incidents going back in the Zambezi, on the Rufiji, in the lakes of the Rufiji River, and in Okavango Delta. Thinking of the times, I know monkeys don't like crocodiles. Monkeys will alarm. Baboons not so much. I've known a lion to hiss at the water whether there's crocodiles or not. Morning, Brenda. Virginia. Brenda wants to know if the brown spots behind his head are remains of the kill. They're just dry leaves, Brenda. It's bits of raisin bush that elephants have fed on and left behind, and the leaves have dried up. It does look like it could be an animal, but it's actually just a branch of raisin bush that was broken off, and it's lying there, and the leaves have gone brown. But the sky isn't grey yet, only a bit of it is. All the leaves are brown. Early, more early.
This was the English one.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. He's asleep, but the sun's coming, so he might have to sit up shortly because there's going to be sun on his face. As the sun rises, warms him up. He's really getting bothered by flies. Barely even acknowledging the breaking of branches and elephant movement behind us. Yes, of course you'll have to sit up with your face in behind some grasses. Nikki's telling me his conversation on Twitter about the crocodile and quarantine and the tussle, evidently. I think there was a vehicle that saw it. One of the other vehicles reported seeing a little bit of a tug of war between leopard and crocodile earlier yesterday. Around, I think it was yesterday morning, not sure. But it wasn't a fight between him and the crocodile. It was a fight over the carcass. I suppose one was pulling one side and the other one was pulling the other side. I didn't get the details. It's difficult when you're sitting in a sighting and you're getting conversation going between vehicles at a sighting. It can be very disruptive to other guests. Unfortunately, sometimes people feel it necessary to have this huge conversation. But perhaps I can find out a little bit more later on what might have transpired. There was a moment when we were sitting with him at one point yesterday morning when there was a commotion behind us, and it was evidently the crocodile and the hyena having a little bit of a tussle over something. It's clouding up fast. There's something coming in, some cloud moving in from the northwest. It's already taken that bit of sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away. quarantine go after the crocodile? Not likely, Brenda. I've only ever seen film of it. I've seen tremendous footage of a jaguar taking a small croc in South America. Could have been an alligator, crocodile, I think, not an alligator. Alligators are North America. I've seen film of from South Africa of a young leopard grabbing a young crocodile that was out of the water, tried to grab it by the tail, and the crocodile spun around and bit the leopard, and I think that's the last time that leopard ever tried to go for a crocodile. I don't know. Maybe a young crocodile. Not this crocodile. Certainly not this crocodile. It would be too big. I mean, it's probably twice the length of him. Maybe the opposite. Crocodile would go for him in a heartbeat. Any station coming to Ingwe, Buffelshoek Dam? Sorry, hat in the way again. Betulier's calling. Let's see where the Ellies are going. He's not doing much. Morning, Camellia. I'll get the Congo that way. Camellia in Vancouver, asking if the animals are used to us because of the way they react, or rather don't react. Very much so. I see Camellia in a place like the Sabi Sands, that Betulier's just come back. I wonder if there isn't maybe a bit of carcass where that Betulier just came from. There are rather strict rules about how we behave as guides or whoever's driving around in a reserve like this. There's a little bit of something under the tree here. Little bit of carcass left. I think the Betulier was trying to get in there. Before I go to the elephants, I suppose we can come back. Have a look at tracks. Looks like there's been buffalo here during the night. This is an elephant park and a hippo. Hippo path and elephant path. Oh, juvenile Betulier just flew off. Alice in Ohio, how long before this young leopard looks for a mate? I'll get to that shortly. Just in terms of how used to the animals are, they become accustomed to the fact that we are not a threat to them. They see these ellies are just taking a march. They get used to the fact that the vehicles don't chase them. And because we usually only have two, maximum of 3 vehicles, with animals. There they are. Pretty thick, this bush. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to spend much time with these elephants. For the most part, they get to learn that we might be a bit of a nuisance in their lives sometimes. See if we can get to the front of the herd. I'm heading south at a fair clip. But as you can see, the bush is rather thick here. And if I were to try and go in there, it would change the dynamics completely. Crashing over bushes and trees. It's just going to upset the children and it will upset the moms. They're moving deeper in. But I'll try and catch up with them. They are heading sort of south-southeast. To see on that beach, to see whether there is any sign of the crocodile coming out of the water. So just quickly finish off before we go and see what Scott's doing this morning while I stay here at the dam. Question on how long it'll be before this young leopard decides to, well, before he mates, he's got to find a territory first. Now, for a female leopard, it's about 2 years old, she'll be able to conceive. We noticed Karula was only about 2.5 maybe. And a young leopard, though, has to establish a territory. He's got to either take over a territory or he's got to find a territory that incorporates the territories of other females. Because without the territory, he can't mate. He's liable to come into contact with an adult male who owns the territory, and of course that's going to result in a fight, and it could result in his death. So, for the time being, he's got to hang around this territory, and at some point he's going to get out and get bounced around from territory to territory until he can either find a territory he can find a place where he can safely establish his own territory that does have other males. And because the way it works with males, it will probably be quite far from his natal ground. Gosh, the dogs have arrived while we have been what leopard and others. Find here at the dam while we have morning to Mr. Dyson and VM on the other vehicle.
Welcome back, and myself and VM have had a slightly frustrating last few minutes. We found some fresh lion tracks. We're following those lion tracks. Even got a message from somebody who works for the Sabi Sands that he had seen the lion in an area where we would have been able to view them just minutes ago. And as soon as we got there, the lion had moved off, and we established that their tracks had been heading in the opposite direction to where we would have wanted them to, and therefore the chances of us seeing them today is very slim because they've headed away from our northern boundary. Anyway, it was close at least, but a little bit frustrating, especially after having seen somebody that said that they saw the lion just minutes ago in an area where we would have actually been able to see them. So Just listening to the radio, sorry, there's a few updates coming through on the Game Drive channel. Okay, apologies for that. Guys were having a long-winded conversation, but needed to listen to it to try and establish exactly where they were, what point they were trying to get across, and there were some animals again moving on one of our boundaries. It was our southern boundary, but it appears that they have also moved in the wrong direction. But not to worry, because we've got a plan B, and that is to head to the hyena den site, which we tried twice yesterday, once in the morning, probably an hour later than when we were arriving now, so it was potentially a little bit late. And in the afternoon we were potentially a little bit early when we stopped in. So hopefully now our timing will be right and we'll get to see some interesting hyena behavior and activity. So it's just a minute or two until we get there, and it sounds like Mark has been showing you guys a wonderful time at Buffelshoek Dam, and some really great sightings there of bushbuck and elephants, as well as of course quarantine, which is the reason why Mark headed there in the first place. And very happy that you got to see him again this morning. And another new character to the Djuma cast of wild animals is the crocodile, and what an awesome addition it is to the animals here that we do see. They are extremely formidable predators and offer a whole new dynamic to our cast of characters, so very happy that you also got to see the crocodile. There's some good news, and it looks like we're in luck here at the den site, so just a few seconds we'll be in position, and then you will be able to see these cute little animals along with the adults here. Well, not as cute. So there's one cub nursing, and the other, as you can see, not in the correct position to be getting the milk, but that is normal with hyena, and they will compete quite fiercely amongst siblings, and there will already be a hierarchy between these two, and I'm not sure that the one that's not nursing now is necessarily the less dominant of the two siblings. It may have already nursed to its full, and I'll be allowing the other. But either way, there will be a dominant one between the two siblings. Now, what's interesting about this hyena den site is that there's two different litters. There's these two that we can see here, and there's one that's slightly larger than them, who has a different mother. Yet there's no sign of the two of them. There's also a few other adults that come and go from the den site, and we're not exactly sure of the exact members of this clan and or how it works, but there have been considerably more hyena running around this den sites on previous sightings, and who knows, more could join us later. The Pisika of Rebecca's is active, 1 adult, 2 cubs. I always wondered to myself what these adult hyena get up to every evening, the kind of distances they travel and interactions they have with other predators would be so interesting to know, because considering the amount of time we spend out here, we know relatively little about the hyena, and we get to follow lion and leopard far more closely than them. So there's always that part of my mind and imagination that wonders exactly what they do get up to when we're not around. And having a den site like this is wonderful in that it does allow us to view them, but typically in a very relaxed nature or a more family-orientated way of life when around the den sites, and it is certainly very interesting to see the interactions between adults and their cubs, and adults and different cubs that don't belong to them. But what would be wonderful to know is to be able to see what they get up to after dark, when they do the majority of their foraging and also hunting. We've just got a question through from Laura on Twitter asking how many litters can they have a year, and I would say at the most one litter every year, because they do have the obligation to raise the cubs that they would have given birth to before they can take on the responsibility of having more cubs. So the minimum I would say would be a year, but I think, to be honest, in fact, it would often be potentially even a little bit longer than that between cubs. That is, of course, unless they lose their cubs for any given reason, then they may come into season and mate again. So, good question though, and I'd be interested to know if anybody does know any more solid information on that in terms of birth intervals for hyena. But as I did say, with most predators, if they do lose their cubs, they can often come into season and mate again regardless of the time of year. They thankfully are not bound like herbivores are, that will often mate and breed in accordance to weather patterns and therefore food abundance. Kevin in Boston, good morning and welcome on board. Kevin has asked a very good question that a lot of people do ask, and that is whether hyenas are more closely related to cats or dogs. And interestingly enough, despite their appearance, they are more closely related to cats, even though their external anatomy certainly does look more dog-like. But that is why you'd notice I've been calling the youngsters cubs and not pups. It is because they are more closely related to cats, but they are in fact in their own family. They're not in the Felidae family, the cat family, or the Canidae family. They are in the Hyenidae family. So their entire own family has been created because they are so unique. Well, myself and VM will stay here at the hyena den site, and hopefully some more action will pop up, but we can cut back to Mark and see what he's been up to for the last few minutes for an update.
Well, we tried to follow the eddies, then we came back to see the croc was there, and now young Quarantine has actually been down on the edge of the dam. There was a pair of saddleable storks here. They seem to have moved off because I guess he must have come over the dam wall and they saw him. He's heading here to where this crocodile was, so hopefully he'll get to see him here. Crocodile's just ignoring him actually. I am in Jack. Looks like he's looking for it. I don't think he can see it because it's at our 3 o'clock. No, it's straight in front of you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, directly in front of the vehicle, your vehicle. That's terrapins or something there.
Oh, okay.
You can see he's very wary, keeping his distance from the water. Crocodile's got his back to the action. Is that Kumas?
Yes, all 8 there.
That's good.
The one was back. And the Nyamas is they already finished.
There's a little bit, but not in the same place. No, that's a little mud bank. Although he thinks it is. Can you still see him?
Yeah, he's drinking at the very end. He's up again now.
Oh, here he comes.
There he comes. He's
Yeah. Safest place. Donna was asking if it's instinctive for leopard to stay away from the water if crocodile are there. To some extent, Donna, it is a learned thing. Something that they're either going to learn the hard way or they're going to learn while they're with their mother. If their mother knows of the presence. He's clearly showing some instinctive wariness, but it also might stem from an incident yesterday. So what he's doing now is he's actually chosen to drink in the shallowest places. It might not be the cleanest of water, but cats don't really have to worry too much about. Not like elephants, who are very particular. Morning, Elizabeth. in Minnesota. It's going to change position. Elizabeth's asking, since Mafufunyan and the Jordan male are both gone, has any other leopard come in to take their territories? Well, yes, his father, Elizabeth, Mvula, has taken over pretty much from Nyambilu Jordan's territory. I'm not too sure the extent of Mafufunyan's territory. But when a leopard leaves, it's not like that entire territory gets taken over. It wouldn't be the same. See how wary this cat is. It wouldn't be exactly the same territory. It's not like us buying a plot of land. That looks like it's the remains of a carcass or something floating there. It's not a mud bank. He's coming closer to the crocodile now. That's the remains of... That's what I suppose people were saying looked like a crocodile. It's not terrapins moving the remains of a carcass. And possibly that baby hippo that was here. What has he got there? I'll see what that was that he picked up. Mariana's in Arkansas. How far would this crocodile have travelled to get here? I haven't any idea. I don't know where it came from, Mariana. But it is, if it came from Chitwa, it would be a couple of miles. I'm not too aware of the dams north of us. But maybe in time, over the next few days, I might get an idea from the guides who do traverse on other areas where we don't, to get some idea of whether any crocodiles are missing from dams elsewhere. And then maybe we can find out where it came from. Get a more accurate idea of the distance. Morning, Alice. How far can a croc leap out of the water? You mean onto a bank? I don't know, Alice. It's a difficult question. Are we talking about them leaping out to grab a wildebeest or something? I mean, propelled by their tail when they're striking. If the water's deep enough, will probably propel them their entire body length. You do see film of people feeding alligators chickens and forcing alligators to jump out of the water like dolphins. I really don't know. Gosh, I have to say I've never seen a crocodile leaping out of the water. Interesting that the go-away birds are not really even interested in the leopard. They're not alarming at all. How long can a crocodile stay submerged below us? Ephraim, wabona lesi? Yeah. Mampimpa mvubu. I just, we were here, we saw it was dead. He's interested in it because it's moving. There's the carcass of what I think is that baby hippo floating around, and the terrapins of just to the right of that log. He's looking at it, and I don't know whether he thinks it's I think he knows what it is. You can see some of the vertebrae sticking up. I don't know why he's interested in it. Crocodile's not moving. How long can crocs stay submerged? I don't know, for a considerable time. I really can't give you a figure. I personally have never timed a crocodile. I think in colder waters, in colder climates, it can be a lot longer than hot climates because of oxygen saturation. But yes, thank you, Nikki. But it's not really something that I've ever measured. I mean, I can read you figures from books, and you can do a search on Google, and I guess that's the kind of figure that we have to take as that's how long a crocodile can stay in the water, whether it's 10 minutes, 15, 20. The fact is that it's something when it comes to figures and numbers, I don't really like to relate book numbers and book figures. I like to be able to tell you things from my own experience. And I've lived with crocodiles on some of Africa's biggest rivers over the last 30 years. And I've never been able to accurately time a crocodile, because I suppose that the population of crocodiles that I've lived with, it's hard to sort of keep track of one individual when it goes underwater. I guess we could even do it here one day if we had to. But the other thing is that there's normally no need for a crocodile to stay submerged that long. When it is hunting, yes. When it is lining up for its prey, which normally doesn't take more than a few minutes. There's a time when it's most likely going to be trying to stay submerged for as long as it can. Where did that cat go now? Is he coming? Coming back this way. I think it's coming, he's interested in this, whatever this carcass is in the water. You're gonna get your feet wet, little boy. Steal the crocodile's meat. What's so uncanny is that the thing is moving because the terrapins are feeding on it. They probably fish too, no doubt. Like he's fascinated by it. Morning, Angie. Wanting to know how far Sydney's dam is from here, because there was a croc there one night on drive with Brent. I didn't know that. I thought yesterday was the first time we had a croc. It is probably about close on 2 miles, maybe 1.5 to 2 miles away. We're almost on the extreme eastern boundary of Djuma. Sydney's dam is on the extreme western boundary, northwest. This is northeast. So it's about the whole length of Djuma. That's how far that dam is. Hello, little boy. Morning, Chris, in Australia. Chris is asking if crocs crocodiles move during the day or during the night if they move to a new dam? Most likely during the night, Chris. Crocodiles are more active at night. I think it's going to come around maybe on the top of this termite mound. I think trying to get a better look at what's going on in the water. Calculate his odds. Looked like he was going around the back of this mound. Usually crocs will move for two reasons. First of all, when the rains come and the dams flood and then they overflow and the riverbeds flow, and they'll move upstream not only to find other water, to find areas where through the flooding and heavy rains there are better hunting grounds for a while during the summer. And then the other time that they'll move is when the dry season starts shrinking, waterholes and dams start drying up, and they need to find more permanent bodies of water when they're coming back from some of the more temporary pans and dams that they've been to during the summer. It's lying down again. Crocodile's head's underwater now, but I didn't time it when it put its head down. Maybe if I just roll an inch forward. That's good. Thanks. Heron's coming back. Buffalo coming down. Heron landing back on the hippo's back. Just watching on the other side of Ephraim's vehicle, there's a pied wagtail chasing a three-banded plover. Let's see if we can get to see them afterwards. You see? Sorry, Nikki. Ramona was asking if there was a flowering vine here where he walked up the hill. Not that I can see, Ramona. There are a couple of little white flowers in the front of the hill from the Barlaria that's flowering at the moment. I've been trying to find a nice one to show you. It's one of the few white flowers that we're seeing at the moment. But I'm not seeing a flowering vine. I think it is a trick of light on the seeds of the bush willow at the base of this bush willow that he was looking at. I had my volume turned down again. Cat stretching. Morning, Tammy. Tammy's saying domestic cats like fish, wanting to know if leopards ever hunt or eat or catch fish. Some leopards do. Some leopards are known to be specialist fish hunters. I've only ever seen leopard taking catfish that are swimming upstream along these dry riverbeds when they're flowing after heavy rains, when it's sort of ankle deep and the fish find it difficult to get upstream because most of their body is out of water, so they become very slow. I've seen leopard take catfish then. I've seen film of a particular leopard somewhere in Kruger that is known to catch fish at certain points, even to the point of catching fish, storing them on land and going to catch more where it can and stockpiling them. But I don't think every leopard will do that. I think it's a learned behavior for them, rather than something that every leopard will do. I know that tigers and jaguars certainly spend a lot of time in water, and I'm sure, just like the jaguar, I'm sure tigers also maybe catch fish. I'm not too sure about it, but I know that jaguars certainly do. A go-away bird coming in to see what's going on. But no alarm calls from them, strangely. RC was asking something about seeing go-away birds, and I can't remember what that question was. Something about... There's possible that you saw a go-away bird spit out a fruit kernel. It is most likely RC. Birds that don't digest certain materials have to regurgitate it because it can't pass through the digestive system. So bird takes in things into the crop and pre-digest it in the crop, and then they do swallow so that the stomach can digest it. So for fruit eaters, you'll find that seed and kernels and the stones of some of the fruits will come out through regurgitation. For the insect eaters, it'll be a small pellet of crushed insect exoskeletons. And then of course for things like owls, as you know, owls regurgitate a pellet with hair and bone and undigested material that they need to pass out. A bird coming to drink. Let's try.
Just wasn't quick enough. Try one of these.
There's a dickle behind there too. Between the two go-away birds, there's a water thickney hiding behind that log. Now just to the left of that other go-away bird. Ah, what are you just seeing the cat now, bird? Sleepy cat. While cat's sleeping, we'll see what else there is happening around the waterhole. Croc still hasn't moved, so I guess Croc is sleeping. And then of course what happens is sometime during the day the Croc will need to come out and warm up its solar panels.
I'm putting out for Andrew is coming in also.
Okay.
Thank you.
And of course, by lying out in the sun during the day, warming up, gains energy through that heat to be able to hunt and to do what it needs to do at night. Hi Marco, New Jersey Marco. Do lion, leopard and cheetah have a winter coat and a summer coat in this area? I don't think so. Maybe. Marco, I don't know. You know, living in a wildlife area most of my adult life, I've never really come into contact with these animals. It's very hard to see from a distance. I would imagine that maybe during the dry season, the colder months, in places with this kind of climate, not necessarily, because our days are still pretty hot, and I don't think it gets that cold that they would need it, but I think there would be areas where maybe the temperatures drop considerably, other parts of Africa where maybe it would be needed. I don't know, I'm sorry, there are a few questions coming today I don't know the answers to. I'm sure I'll try and find answers to them. But my experience is just that. It's living with animals and learning about them this way. I don't ever get to touch them. I don't ever get to see them at close. Maybe next to my door, but I can't really tell. If I've got a leopard next to my door in summer, I can't really tell how different the fur is to the leopard next to my door in winter, I have to be honest.
Well, the croc try for the lorry.
Good. I'm not too fond of birds, but I have seen crocs take birds. Yeah. What species of bird are related to the grey lories? I think that's Chris in Australia. I think because they do look somewhat like your cockatiels, don't they, Chris? They are the turacos. Touraco. Turaco. Most of the turacos have brilliant crimson coloured wings. Actually, the colour is turaco. Taurusine. It's called Taurusine. Taurusine. I'm going to move a little bit before Andrew gets here. Oh, Croc's taking a bit of interest there, actually. Croc moved just slightly. I see no point in moving. I think, and here he comes. He's coming back anyway. You don't need to move anyway. Croc's gone back to its... A bit of its back came out of the water, almost as though it was going to do something. But I think those birds are aware of it. They're teasing it. Look at them. You're welcome, Andrew. Yeah, firm. Ingwe Buffelshoek Dam. Go again at last. Well, the cloud bank seems to be moving off. Bit of sunlight coming out again. So it's going to be a while still before it gets too hot for him to have to move. Morning. Morning. Ribs. Ribs, Hans. But you're fine. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's maybe that Mvubu from a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it's the Nyala. Don't know what it is, but the Ngwenya's in front of you. No, facing the other bank, sort of to the left of that small log. Yeah. Little squirrel. You've got very little child. I've got a squirrel next to my door. Might not get it on camera. He's going to drink. A young squirrel. But it will be safe. Oh, okay. Thanks, Nikki. Nikki's saying that a few of you on Twitter are asking what that bird was that was with the go-away birds. Still there, actually. It's known as a thickney, a water thickney. Although for many years here in South Africa we called them thickheads. Internationally, this group of birds known as thickneys. Have we got that lens cleaning fluid here? Let's see its head behind its little log. Big round eye, nocturnal bird. You get two species here, the water thickney and the spotted thickney. Spotted thickney we find away from the water. Very well camouflaged during the day because they hide on the water's edge amongst vegetation. Now, another little bird. I'll let you guess who this is coming around the edge of the water. Now, there was a pied wagtail here earlier that was chasing it. I didn't mention it. Thank you, Ellen. Message from Ellen L. Brian doing a fantastic job this morning. Yeah, we're going to miss Brian. I don't know, we're going to miss Brian or the thumb more.
I think the thumb's more popular.
Think so?
Yeah.
Does the thumb have to go on leave too?
No, he's gonna stay here.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave him behind.
I think the thumb's learnt enough about camera work from you.
But he's very expensive. He's
Yeah.
quite a pricey cameraman.
Tina, Judith's wrong, but I can understand where Judith is coming from. It's hard to tell the size of this bird, but I think Tina was the one that came through from Houston in Texas. A three-banded plover. It does have a very similar head to a crown plover, but of course we're talking size here. It's a much smaller bird. I mean, this is a bird that is about a little bit bigger than a sparrow. Sounds like some Aussies next to us. Or a tree squirrel on the ground. Joe's asking if it's possible if this will dry up. Joe's in New York. Morning, Joe. How's New York this morning? Pretty early in the morning, Joe, but I suppose New York's that city that never sleeps. Bye. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Dad.
Joe, okay, where was I with Joe? Slipped my mind. Ooh.
Will this dam dry up? Will this dam dry up?
Ah, thank you. Yes, will the dam dry up? This one not, Joe. I think, well, if we go through a severe drought, I think that maybe there's a chance. I know that this dam is probably one of the deepest because of the way the elephants swim in this dam. I think there's a greater chance of Treehouse Dam and Gowrie Dam drying up. Twin dams will be first because it's the smallest. Maybe Treehouse Dam will be next, and then there will be maybe Gowrie Dam. But this is a pretty deep dam, so there's quite a large body of water compared to the other dams we have here on Djuma. But a severe drought, yes, I guess it is possible. It can happen. It's been a long time since we've had such a dry year. We're going to cross over to Scott for a little bit, see what Scott has got for you, and I'm going to monitor what's going on here at the dam. I'll see you in a short while. Obviously, we'll be here.
Well, we've been driving around for a long time now, hoping to find some animals to show you, and as soon as we have found them, they've disappeared behind these bushes. So, not having too much luck on Jigga this morning. I'll stop here and let VM show you one last glimpse of these kudu before they disappear. They're such pretty antelope. But that, I fear, is the last we'll be seeing of them, because they've headed off into thick bush. Although, I've just seen one running out to play there. Let me try and move forward and see what happens. It sounds like you have been having a wonderful time at Buffelshoek Dam, and it really is such a wonderful place. And Nikki's been sending me through some updates. It sounds like there's been some bird watching going on in between the big cat viewing. Oh, well, you wouldn't believe it, but there's also an elephant here that I've just seen. It's not a great view at the moment, but interesting how we stopped for the kudu and now an elephant comes into the picture. You can just make out the trunk and one of the tusks there. Not an easy area for VM to film, but thankfully this kudu's come out into a small opening just for a moment. Myself and VM have been driving around hoping to find some sign of Djuma, which is quarantine male leopard's brother. He hasn't been seen for quite some time now, and we're both wondering where he is, and have been searching in areas where we have been known to find him in the past, and we know he likes to move, but no sign of him in those areas. But we have been searching. You'll see her nibbling away on the leaves. Kudu are browsers, so specifically leaf eaters. You won't find them grazing on grass. So one of the more specialized antelope of this area. And that is why they've got these beautiful big ears, because they found themselves in typically quite thick wooded areas wherein they can find their leaves to feed on. Good hearing is almost better than sight, because they can hear predators sneaking up on them before they necessarily can see them. And you'll notice how she swivels her ears backwards and forwards, sometimes one at a time, one forward, one back, in order to keep track of noises of any potential threats. Okay, now to try and establish what we're doing. Nice to try and... Well, while we try and reposition and get a shot of these elephants, let's cut back to Mark. It sounds like quarantine's on the move again, so we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Well, welcome back to our ongoing saga here at Buffelshoek Dam. Young Quarantine still making his way around from one side to the other. Now come back. I suppose he was getting a bit hot in the sun. He's come to join us in the shade that we've got, which we're going to lose fairly soon. And he's still showing some interest in the remains of something in the water. Crocodile has got its back to us, so the crocodile's not even interested in what's going on here. A little bit of a wind. It blew some dry leaves. You saw how he startled almost. Got a little bit startled there. The sudden blowing of the wind. I remember being at home. I've got a coalition of lion at home. 4 big males. I was sitting with 2 of the males one day, and it was quite a hot day. I was lucky that being at home, I don't have time restraints. Oh, elephants! Just chased off a buffalo. And these 2 male lions were fast asleep, and a whirlwind came up and stirred up sand and dust, but it came through so fast that both male lions went from sleeping to running away in a blink of an eye. They sort of ran 20 yards, turned around and looked at me and another vehicle that was there, as though it was our fault there was a whirlwind.
That's very small, Ellie.
Very, very small Ellie there now. Tiny little thing. That's quite a new one. Only a few weeks, maybe, a couple of months. Drinking better than that older calf was drinking earlier. How much water it's getting, it's probably just, instead of sucking it up, it's probably just scooping up a little bit of water rather than...
Looks like it's chewing a lot as well.
Yeah. I think it's just wetting the tip of its trunk and sucking the tip of its trunk. Quarantine's got up again, he's making his way around to the other side again. Can't see him now, he's gone behind this little mound, but it's just interesting behavior, how he is determined to try and get closer to this floating vertebra. Quite a busy little waterhole this morning. The water see thickney. Marsha, morning Marsha. Wanting to know if the thickney could be sitting on a nest, being a ground nesting bird. Could be, Marsha. could possibly be.
Just the Ellie throwing a stick at the buffalo.
Sunburnt Love now at Buffelshoek Dam. Oh, elephant coming down and chasing the leopard. Young female elephant that just came down and gave him a fright, but he is just keeping his distance. He made, while we're watching the ellies, by the way, he made his way back onto the other side. He was lying on the sand and he was quite peaceful. I don't think either of us knew there was an elephant coming along. But he is at a very high traffic area for elephants. Lois, morning Lois, wanting to know if this carcass were to get closer to the shore, would he feed on it? I think that's what he's doing, wandering from side to side, is hoping that something's going to change and that it is going to get closer. I think he's intrigued as to what it is, whether he can feed. I don't think he will. I think he'll probably turn his nose up at it if he did get to see what it is. Big family. I don't know. Sorry, Brian, got you turning the one side to the other. But there's another family that has come down, and they almost as though they're waiting for the other family to finish. But they came from a different direction. So we've got two families of ellies. A little one with its face in the water because it's tired of trying to drink through its trunk. Oh, it's getting very active here. The noise you can hear are some long-tailed shrikes or magpie shrikes that are, well, they're shouting at Quarantine Male. They're sitting above him in the Gori bush and just in buffalo thorn, telling the whole world about a leopard being here. Lots happening. I'm being very protective over the little one. Tracy, morning Tracy. Tracy's mentioning something about a post on social media about elephants getting diabetes. And it's ringing a little bit of a bell there, Tracy, that recently there was something discovered that they can. I need to look up, I need to try and find more about that, Tracy. Personally, I'm not too familiar with it, but I do recall reading something now that you mention it. I need to brush up on that. What seems to be interesting here is that there are two different family units that are not really socializing much, from what I can gather.
Maybe because the little one's so small?
No, I just think that maybe because they're non-related herds, and I suppose it's like sometimes you don't get on with your neighbors. On the very far right of these alleys, you can see a cow with a calf. And that's quite an old calf that was drinking. I mean, that calf has got to be more than 6-7 years old. Was actually drinking. Josephine wants to know why the elephants chased the buffalo off. Well, I think generally it's only really the elephants know why they did that, but as a guess, I suppose, in quarantine coming back to the water. As a guess, I would say because they want to drink there. The buffalo was in their way. Look at crocodile. Gee, just 1 minute it's underwater and sleeping, and the next minute it's a tawny eagle flying away, leopard lying against the bank. Do we need to go anywhere? Do we really need to drive anywhere right now? No, we don't. We just have to sit quietly and watch the world go by. That's a monster croc, actually.
Yeah, fairly sized croc.
What's that? There I was thinking maybe we got an 8-foot croc, but this is a 12, easily 12 or more feet. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah.
I mean, it's also a fat crocodile.
Yeah, it's big.
Wide and round. It's almost bloated. We've had flat cats before, and occasionally we have a flat elephant, but now we've got another flat elephant.
Flat cat, flat crocodile,
Flat crocodile.
flat
Well,
ellie.
crocodile is also known as a flat dog. Flat ellie. Who's going to be the first to go for a swim, I wonder? If there were any little boys there, they'd probably be going in soon. Tired little elephant. I don't know where this one elephant went that came running down on this side of the dam, gave Quarantine a fright and pushed him up the bank. It disappeared very quickly, that ellie. I guess we could say it's pretty much a flat hippo too, because it's also lying down. We just can't see it lying down. Tina, I'll do it, I promise. One of these days, well, I'm going to have to park in the same place, but I'll go and lie next to that log that the crocodile. Tina wants me to do the size comparison that I did with the giraffe and the elephant. I still got to see it. I didn't get to see it last night, that giraffe comparison. Hope that turned out well. But Tina wants me to do a size comparison thing with the crocodile. Sure, I could, if it moved off, I suppose I could always go and lie on its back.
I'll film it, it'll be fun.
I better hold on tight. It'll be like a water rodeo. No, I don't want to disturb the crocodile like that. I don't like catching lizards. I'll let them be. This is a nice goodbye, Brian.
Yeah, it's decent.
I give you 2 days, you're going to miss it terribly.
Yeah.
Or this you'll miss. I don't think the...
That's the best job, definitely. But I need a bit of a...
Yeah, you've been here a long time.
Need to recharge the batteries.
Yes. You need some time off.
We have our first swimmer.
Yeah, that little one as well, just put its face right in, or it fell. I think that's the matriarch of the other group that's now approaching the first group. Let's see if there's going to be any greetings. I should be counting my elephant days like you guys count the leopard days, cat days. Elephant cuteness days. Time for children to play, swim and have fun. Cat's oblivious to all of that. I think he can hear them, he's just not worried about them. Same as the crocodile. A cat and a crocodile and unbelievable. I wonder if we shouldn't move and get closer to those lilies to watch them swimming. Or are you happy from this angle? I think it's actually nicer here because we almost water level. And no, that's not mating, that's just playing, climbing, playing. Hello jumping spider, you're going to come onto the dashboard. Morning Helen in New Jersey. Do I think the Ellies are aware of the crocodile? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. Doesn't seem to be. Unless the crocodile was near them and the females saw the crocodile and then they would know that it was here. Judging by the way, I don't know. To be honest, I really don't think that they know that it's here. But it is far away from them, and the croc's got its back towards them, it's facing away. I don't even think they know there's a leopard here. Interesting there. This matriarch is now seemingly moving off the other. Well, she's moving away. She needs to get over the damn wall. But those other elephant actually gave her space, moved away from her. Might have something to do with that tiny little monster that they've got. Now that she's moving away, some of the other children are going to come and play with her children, perhaps. Such interesting things happening today. See, interesting now, the other matriarch from the other herd that came in from the north is actually shaking her head at the children from the other family. Intimidating them somewhat. What was that playing? They were going to try and come out of the water. It looks like she blocked them from coming out of the water. Oh, the helicopter coming again. See what they do when the helicopter gets close, if there's any reaction.
I think it's too far.
Not coming this way at all. The same chopper as yesterday morning. Kruger Park helicopter, I think. Anti-poaching. A little bit of interaction between the children of the two family groups. Greeting. And now they're all leaving together almost. Little boys will be boys. Lagging behind, being naughty, playing, getting boisterous until one of them gets hurt. And as silently as they came in, they disappear into the yellowing and browning leaves of autumn. Hello, Mr. Buffalo. Can an elephant choke if it sucks up too much water with its trunk? Giselle in Oregon. Loved Oregon. Oregon, very pretty. I went to Oregon. Spent a bit of time down south on the Mackenzie River. Giselle, where are you? Young elephants, when they're learning how to suck water up through their tongue, sometimes do go through a little bit of a laryngeal spasm when they get water in the wrong way into their air pipe. But it's only in the beginning stages of learning how to do that. Choke, no, but cough and splutter, yes. Well, in an elephant's manner of doing so. Okay, copy, thank you. Something just chased a francolin. There was a lot of intense activity in a short space of time. It's gone back to the stalemate, crocodile and leopard. Oh, he got a fright. Something gave him a fright, probably just the wind and the leaves. He's nervous because he's sitting, he knows the crocodile is here. He has been wary of the water. I don't know if he's seen it, where it is. I'm assuming he has. I was asked earlier how long they stay underwater, and that's, I was saying it's a very difficult thing to answer because of different conditions. But the one thing about crocodiles is they do have a unique circulatory system where, if need be, they can limit blood supply and blood and oxygen supply to all but their two vital organs, the brain and the heart, if they need to stay submerged. And that is one of the things that allows them to stay submerged for extended periods of time, longer than many or any other mammals, or any other animals. A young elephant bull are coming down on his own on the other side. Also, what is unique about crocodiles is that their nasal passage and their throat are separate, so that they can close off their nasal passage, but they could still eat underwater and swallow without the chance of drowning. Hello, little boy. Very uncertain elephant. Susie. Morning, Susie. Is it correct that the crocodile is soaking up the sun to get energy for nighttime? It is indeed, Susie. That is how a crocodile regulates its own temperature using the water and the sun, but also warming up, getting energy into those so that it can work those muscles later on if it needs to, or any time during the day if it gets the opportunity to hunt. You'll find that sometimes when it gets very, very hot, crocodile will open its mouth, and that will help to also regulate the temperature. The body can't regulate its own temperature, so the crocodile has to use what ambient temperature it has at its disposal. So either the cooler water to cool it down if it's overheating, or to some extent on these hot days the shallow waters that we have around the edges can get very, very warm. So it gets warmth not only from the sun but also from the edges of the pond, the dam, where it's quite shallow. It can be quite hot, the water, in fact, at times. I imagine right now the water's fairly cool, and you'll find sometimes crocodiles sleeping half in and half out of the water, so that while they are getting warm and they are gaining energy from the sun, they are at the same time cooling themselves down so that they don't overheat. Elephant is very wary. Going, you go forward, Brian. I know it's going to be awkward, possibly. Come on, Wendy, start up a second. But he's heading up on the dam wall exactly where the kill is, and he was walking up there very tentatively. You can see he's picking up the scent of the kill, probably. That's where the leopard was, that's where the kill was. He is on his own by the looks of things, or he could be travelling with other bulls that are just not here yet.
He might have been the stray one that scared quarantine just now.
Could be, but I thought that was the one that came running down here. I thought so, but it looked like that was a cow. It's unusual to have a cow all on her own like that. Well, I'm going to say goodbye. I know I would love to stay here too. I'm sure some of you want to stay here as well. We'll just stay here all day if we could. But we do have to get back. Wendy's got to get plugged in so we can come out again later. And so I'm going to say goodbye quickly from myself. Oh, sorry. Took you up. Elephant's better looking than me. But thanks for joining me and Brian and Thumb this morning on Wendy. Brian, enjoy your leave, dude. Hope you have a good one.
Thank you very much. I shall indeed.
And you're supposed to have the crocodile. Let's go see what Scott's got before we end off the drive, and Scott will say goodbye to you. And I'll see you this afternoon, 4 o'clock Central African time. Love you lots.
Goodbye, crocodile.
Well, welcome back, and it sounds like it's been a wonderful morning at Buffalo's Hook Dam, and so glad you got to share all those incredible sightings with Mark and Brian. Myself and Vim have had a slightly less productive morning, but I've really been enjoying spending some time with these saddle-billed storks. They were doing a little bit of feeding, didn't catch anything substantial when we arrived here about 5 minutes ago. Now they've just started to preen themselves. And we're here at Djuma Dam. Not too much is going on here. There are 2 buffalo bulls relaxing, as well as a hippo and her baby, but they are not easy to see, and they're spending most of the time underwater, but they are also here. there's just a minute or so left. So from myself and Vim, thanks for following us, and look forward to this afternoon's adventure. And who knows what we'll be able to find then. Hopefully a little bit more than this morning from my side. It was a tricky morning out there, but that's how it goes, and thankfully Mark had some great sightings with you all at Buffelshoek Dam. Anyway, until this afternoon, we will see you later.